Welcome to the fourth episode of the 15 Minute Leader podcast. Guys, I'm so thankful that you're taking 15 minutes out of your day to check out this podcast. And as you can see, I have no guests today. And so I thought I would use this opportunity to share our origin story of our business that we first launched, and also share with you guys the one reason why our business exploded with growth over a 2-year time period. And so I think we'll just jump right into it. So my wife and I, Louisa, we bought our first business when we were 24 years old. And the story of how we acquired our business is quite extraordinary. And so I'm going to share those details with you guys now. And then we were just two young people just launched into this world of owning a business and just figuring it out on our own. And so here's a little bit of our backstory. We got married at 18 years old. The week after we graduated high school, we got married. And so I was going to college and I was working at a gym as well as going through school. Got certified as a personal trainer. So I was training, cleaning the gym, running the gym, and taking classes. I got my degree in dietetics. Upon graduating college, I was managing multiple locations for my boss. His name was Dr. DePriest. And then one day I'm in my kitchen at home and I get a call from Dr. DePriest, or Kirk was his first name. I get this call from Kirk, and Kirk informs me that he is moving to South Carolina and he no longer wants the gyms. At this point, I remember my heart sinking. Like I actually felt sick to my stomach because I thought in that moment I was losing my job. You see, I graduated college and I actually interned with Mercy for a couple of years, Mercy Hospital. I was supposed to be a dietitian. And I discovered that in the internship, I actually didn't like working in the hospital setting because the people I was helping didn't want to see me. I mean, when you're in a hospital, the last person you want to talk to is the guy or the girl who's telling you what you can and can't eat, right? And so I did that, and upon graduation, I just stayed at the gym. But I get this call from Kirk that he doesn't want the gyms, he's moving, and my heart sinks. I'm like, oh man, now what am I going to do? And then he tells me that he wants me to buy the gym. And remember, I'm 24 years old. And so I tell Kirk, I don't have money to buy a gym. And he tells me, you got to go to Barnes & Noble, and you got to buy this book. The book's called How to Own a Business for Dummies. So I do. I buy the book. I read the book. And in the book, How to Own a Business for Dummies, I learn how to write a business plan. So I write this business plan out, and I go to the bank with it, full of confidence. I'm this 24-year-old guy. I just read a book. I think I have written the perfect business plan, and I asked to see the president of the bank. They let me see the president of the bank, and I said, look, here's my business plan. I'm asking for $150,000 to buy this business. And he reads over my business plan, and essentially he says, this looks great. I get the loan. And just like that, my wife and I are 6 figures in debt, and we are acquiring this business. That's our origin story of how we bought the Athletic Loft. Now, when we bought the business, something inside of me wanted to acquire a larger building across the street. So we did all that we could, and we found ourselves in a position to get this building across the street, right? And so we doubled the size of the gym immediately, despite some warnings from other people, one being my boss, Kirk. But sometimes as a business owner, you get this knowing, and I would tell you that when your knower is firing on all cylinders, you got to take the risk, because sometimes that risk-taking ability is exactly the reason you've been placed in position as the leader of that company or organization. And so we doubled the size of the gym. So we've got this really big building. I've got this really big debt, and it's make or break. You're going to make it or you're not. And I think that one of the reasons we made it was just that mentality, like we're going to do all that we can. And so I remember waking up super early in the morning, like 4 a.m. to work on the gym, staying way late at night. We had to do all that we could to get this building prepped, and we had exactly 30 days to make it happen. I remember we were actually in that building renovating it and getting it ready so much that my son at the time, he was so little that he would walk into the gym and say, oh, I'm home. Like he actually thought that building was our home where we lived, just because he knew that when I showed up to this place, Dad was there. And so that was our story. So we launched the gym, and it's opening day. We're nervous. We're wondering if anyone's going to show up. And there's a line of people, and they just kept coming in one after another. And we would just sign up this member, sign up that member, just kept going. And I remember we were so thrilled with excitement. And in that moment, we did something as far as a business owner. We had created momentum. And our business exploded with growth. When I say it exploded with growth, I'm talking about growth that you couldn't even imagine as a business owner or a gym owner. In a time period where we were signing up members, it was to the point where I couldn't complete a workout on my own without being interrupted that somebody wanted to join the gym. It was truly extraordinary. So what was the one thing that we did really good? The one thing we did really well. And I think that this principle can apply to any business. We had it as a gym, but you could be, you could own a restaurant, you could own a mattress store. It doesn't matter what your business is. If you can find a way to create momentum for your company, you're going to experience explosive growth. When I look back at this season of explosive growth for our gym, I don't even really remember problems. Like I can't recall a problem that really slowed us down. See, momentum will take away at a minimum 80% of an organization's problems. Like those problems just get steamrolled by momentum. Now I did 3 things really well that really helped stir up this momentum and kept it growing. For time's sake, I think we're going to get through 2 of the 3, and on the next podcast, I'll probably talk about the 3rd one, which was the biggest. You see, each thing that we did well, the 3, they only grow in size. The first thing that we did really well to help cultivate and grow this momentum was we launched big classes. Now, what's so revelatory about that? Like I think most gyms have classes. The reason I said a duration is because nobody wants to commit to a lifelong class, man. I don't know if I want to commit to this, but if I set it at 6 weeks, I mean, I think anybody can say I'll commit to this thing for 6 weeks. I also said a number of 20. I could have fit more than 20 people per class, but I only wanted 20 because I was trying to create a demand. I knew that if I created a demand that I could have a waiting list. If I had a waiting list, now I really got people tied in. We charged $100 for the class. The class was never about the money. I really could care less. And so you say, well, you made $2,000 every 6 weeks. And while that's nice, that's a 6-week paycheck. That's not like anything that's going to sustain you long term. But I knew that if I could get them in for 6 weeks, the product that I offered was that good that they would continue to come back. Our gym model is also built on a monthly subscription. And so you could only join the class if you had a monthly subscription. The monthly subscription was only $35 a month, and it got you in the gym 24/7, which is a great deal. But I knew that if you were locked in monthly, you were probably committed to me long term. And when I say long term, you're at least there for 6 months to a year at a minimum. Okay, so I created momentum by the class, right? And so we would have these classes. I did 2 classes. We did one at 6 a.m., one at 7 a.m., and we would sell out of both classes. And so we were training up to 40 people at a time every 6 weeks with a waiting list. So supply was limited, but demand was high. But the key to this was the marketing that came through this. See, each person in my class became a key marketer for me. They were telling their friends about it. They were telling their coworkers about it. They were posting on social media about the class they did, about the workout they had. And so I would try to keep things interesting and keep the class engaged. Because for me, the 20 people that came to the class and then told others about it was bigger than the $100 they paid. The $100 was nice, but that was not the priority. The priority was to get as many people talking about my gym as possible. Because when people talk, word spreads. When word spreads, more people get curious. The more curiosity I had, the more people join my gym. You want to become the talk of the town. You want to have something that people need to get access to. This can be for any business. If you can get multiple streams of people talking about what you're doing, you've now created momentum. Momentum is hard to slow down. Once momentum is rolling, it's like a train moving down a train track, right? It's going to take a whole lot to stop a train that's moving full speed. I would say it's nearly impossible to stop a train once it's moving full speed. That was what our gym was growing into. We had multiple people talking about what we were doing. We had sold out classes. We had waiting list of people trying to get in. And momentum was beginning to grow at an all-time high. The second thing we did really well was I created opportunities to celebrate people. And on top of the celebration, we created visualizations for people to see. One way we did this was we would host weight loss challenges, which I think, again, what's revelatory about this, you're hosting a weight loss challenge at your gym. You're supposed to do these things. Yeah, but I remember I got $1,000 cash out of the bank, and I bought an like a thermostat cover, like just a clear case, and I put it on the wall and the gym in the spot where everybody could see it. And then I put that $1,000 cash inside of that clear case, so everybody walking by saw $1,000 cash mounted to the wall. Now, couldn't somebody have just ripped it off and ran away? Of course. But I didn't think that was going to happen. I had security cameras everywhere. So we have $1,000 mounted to the wall, and right above that $1,000 cash is a big poster that says, once again, I had a time duration. I can't recall the exact time duration, maybe 6 weeks, maybe it was 8 weeks. But we had a weight loss challenge, and the winner got $1,000 cash. You see, not only was there like an incentive that you would get money, but you actually saw that incentive daily as you walked by. It was a $20 buy-in to enter the weight loss thing. I think the $1,000, I didn't even lose any money because I had enough people sign up for the class. But again, it was people talking about my business without me having to market my gym. I never really tried to market my gym by like, look at this equipment, look at this product. It was always about the people. And so what I did, every time somebody would sign up for the weight loss challenge, we'd get them weighed in, and we would take their picture and we would celebrate them. We're so proud of Tim signing up to do this weight loss challenge. Man, we're so proud of John. We're so proud of Jeff. Man, why don't you go ahead and cheer on Johnny as he steps into this journey? We created moments for people to celebrate others. And when people feel celebrated, they feel like they're part of the group. When they feel part of the group, they're contributing at higher levels than those who are just an attender. I never wanted people just to come to like receive. The gym to me was something that people could be a part of. It was a community. And this created momentum. Celebrating others, creating exclusivity, and setting time limits on things was creating momentum that was hard to stop. Now, the result of the weight loss challenge is we would update people like, okay, look, Johnny's on week 2. He's already lost 10 pounds. This person's lost 4 pounds. It didn't matter how much weight was lost. Like it could have been something small. Like maybe you consider 4 pounds in 2 weeks small. But 4 pounds is still something to be celebrated because it's 4 pounds that they would have kept on had they not joined this challenge. And so we didn't just celebrate one person for winning. We celebrated all people for participating. And as a company, as an organization, if you can begin to celebrate a multiple group of people, you're creating an opportunity for people to talk about what you're doing. And that, to me, was the key to success. How many people can talk about what we're doing? How big of a community can we grow? And our gym was experiencing massive growth because of this. Now, the third and final thing that we did to create momentum was hands down the biggest thing that we did. And that's because it changed our perspective from a local outlook to a nationwide approach. I'm going to touch on that in the fifth podcast coming up next Monday. And we're going to dive deep into that and then probably cover some other things as well. But yeah, the first 2 things that we did really created community. They created conversations. But the third thing that we did to gain even more momentum for our company took it from a local perspective to a nationwide approach. Again, we had no idea what we were doing. We were just a couple of young people just trying our best to make it. And as I reflected on what we did, it is quite extraordinary at the growth that we achieved simply due to momentum. And so if there's any takeaway that you get from this podcast today, it's like, hey, if you have no momentum, you better get some. If you've got some momentum, you better add weight to it because force is multiplied by 2 things. Force is calculated by multiplying weight and speed. You can't just be fast. You've got to have something tangible to what you're delivering. You've got to have some weight on that, right? And you can't just be heavy but not have speed behind you as well. It's the combination of weight and speed that creates force. Your business has got to create a force to plow through the problems that present itself. Again, as I said at the start of this call, I wasn't really aware of problems because momentum will solve, at a minimum, 80% of an organization's problems. Well, guys, that's it for this episode of the 15-Minute Leader. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'm so pumped to talk about the third and final thing that we did really well to create momentum for our business, The Athletic Loft. All right, see you guys soon.